This time we will leave the underground metro behind us to set out on a long and grim journey. As always, let us first have a look at the graphics and how well Metro Exodus runs. And let's start with the biggest change, the environments. Gone for the most part are the dark underground metro tunnels, and instead we get large outside locations. It's not an open world, mind you, but every level is basically a hub world that still gives you plenty of freedom. The world is full of half destroyed buildings, abandoned industrial areas, and everywhere you see broken cars and other vehicles. Not everything is destroyed, as the surviving humans started to rebuild some places with scraps they found laying around. Everything around you in the world gives you the feeling that indeed a massive apocalypse had just happened, and the best comparison I can give is that of Fallout or a Mad Max. However, much more detailed and more realistic. Every hub world features a different season, making for an interesting approach of the landscapes. From a snowy field to a deserted desert, and even a beautiful forest environment. With this also comes a new weather system. It can so happen that you're walking around on the snowy plains and all of a sudden it gets dark and it starts to rain with a massive thunderstorm. The raindrops scatter all around you and it's animated very nicely onto the road and buildings. This time around we also get a day and night cycle, and 4A Games have put a lot of effort into this feature. The environment shadows move around realistically depending on where the sun is in the sky. During the night, the moon lights up some parts of the environment so you are still able to see where you're going. In between environments you will spend most of your time in the Aurora. This is the train that takes you from hub world to progress the story. The train is full of little details for you to discover. You can use the radio to listen to chatter or music, interact with the train itself like using the steam horn, or go outside and see the landscapes move past you. You will also meet up with some crew members on the train, and here you will see the big improvement in detail over the past two Metro games. The characters are nicely animated and move realistically in every interaction. Their eyes move around and their facial animations are done really well, even though their lips don't always move correctly when they speak. The animations of your character are like those of your crew, really nicely done. The reloading and recoil animations and other animations like crawling into air ducts or climbing ladders are really spot on here. The shadow from your character moves as it should be, as it really follows your every movement. All the weapons you will get in the game are all fully customizable by obtaining add-ons. All the rifles can also get dirty, and over time you will see mud and dirt piling up on your weapon. This means cleaning must be done occasionally. With every round you fire, smoke will leave the barrel of your rifle. If you decide to empty a few clips, the barrel will even glow up from the heat. If you're standing in the sun, you will even see the light scatter on the metal of your rifle. However, all this graphical splendor comes at a cost, and that is stability. On the base consoles you can expect frame drops in busy areas. It is not game breaking, but they are noticeable when you go into the low 20s. Metro Exodus also has some bugs going on here and there. I came across a few odd ones, like strange textures not showing correctly, and even at one point a part of the sky was totally missing for a few seconds. However, my console never froze, nor did I have a game breaking bug. Another issue are its loading times. When you start the game, loading times are okay and mostly around the 1 minute mark, until you get to the first open area hub world. Expect to wait 3 minutes or more on the loading screen. If you die or reload a quick save, you have to wait another minute. I will put a link in the description if you want to see a full analysis of how Metro runs on different platforms. The loading times can get you out of the moment, and I do hope they will patch this in the future, if at all possible. And now let's have a quick listen to the sound, voice and music of Metro Exodus.
Hear me, Major? My people are in no way related to
It's not my
this
call, and you know it.
misunderstanding.
Well, I'll
Yakuza.
fight for the guys no matter what. Of course. Artyom, Anna, they are...
Alright, Spartans. Throw these overboard and full steam ahead.
Come with me, Artyom. Let's catch some air.
The sound design is something that 4A Games really did well here, and let's first start maybe at the lesser point of it all, and that's the voice acting. At times it's near perfection, while at other moments it feels like somebody was just too tired of redoing the same line over and over again. This makes for a little inconsistent performance. However, the characters that do have the most dialogue are luckily the good voice actors. The only thing that does feel forced is the occasional over-the-top Russian accent. The script itself has a decent writing and there's really a lot of dialogue going on in the train sections. It seems that everybody wants to talk to you or get you involved in their conversations. I personally think it's nice to be able to learn a bit more about the people you travel with. When it comes to the music aspect, they did an excellent job as well. Music is placed in most cutscenes to give you a sort of feeling for the story. It consists mostly out of acoustic guitar sounds that fits perfectly with the story itself. There's also a radio you can use on the train for some great Russian music to listen to, or some radio chatter from other people who try to communicate. Of course, when you play a shooter, the weapons need to have that certain kick to them with the sound. Rifles sound heavy, and when outside you can even hear your shots echo in the distance. Even the reloading in this game sounds pretty great. But the environment sounds take the big prize here. From your footsteps to the horrific screams from mutated creatures, the sound of dread when you're in an underground bunker for instance gives you really that scary vibe. You always feel you're not alone as you can hear the strange noises in a faraway echo. This game is a feast for the hearing senses, but unfortunately not everything is perfect here either. For instance, you're talking to one of the characters and move a bit away. He or she is still talking and that's okay until you get in range of another character. Now this character will start talking to you too, meaning you will get two characters talk over one another, which is kinda weird and annoying. Also I had multiple sound glitches in the form of lag. I shoot once and the sound follows later. This kind of lag is really annoying, but again it doesn't break the game. The story of Metro Exodus is really straightforward, but with some nice twists here and there that of course I will not spoil. But all I can say is that the last part is probably the best thing that Metro has ever done. There is plenty of lore to discover on your journey in the sense of hidden books and recording tapes. These tell you the story of people during the events of the apocalypse or after, and it gives you a sense of skill. The gameplay had me worried in the beginning when I saw the announcement of Metro Exodus. How can a game that mostly tries to give you an atmospheric and stealthy experience translate this to an open world environment? Well, they managed it somehow. The core mechanics are still here, as in that you can always sneak your way around things or go in guns blazing. The shooting feels very satisfying, but it should always be a last resort. Ammo is scarce, so either be a good shot or try to take out as many as quietly as possible. The atmosphere has gone a bit milder here, but there are plenty of locations to explore that creates a lot of tension. Some areas are dark and creepy just like the metro tunnels of the first two games. As mentioned before, your weapon gets dirty and this has an influence on the performance. If your weapon is too dirty, it will lose part of the damage output, but it also has the risk to get jammed. If this happens, you have to tap the reload button to unjam the weapon. This can occur every few shots if the weapon is beyond dirty, and it can give you a sense of stress and fear if you see a mutant running towards you and your rifle jams. Cleaning can be done at workstations that are scattered in safe houses around the map. Here you can also create ammo and healing items. In the safe houses you can always find some materials to create items. Here you can also rest and sleep to wake up in the morning or evening depending what you prefer. This time you can collect supplies from around the map that can be used to create items and ammo. It's a good method to make sure you search every building and think about the risk-reward situation. You see a big abandoned house, but through the window you see some mutants. Do you take the risk that you have to use some ammo on them and maybe find nothing at all? Or will there be plenty of items in that house? That's of course the risk that you have to take. You can collect also different armor types this time around. For instance, you can find armor that lets you carry more ammo, or another that lets you carry more healing items and air filters. And speaking about filters, the gas mask is still being used here, although in a much lesser degree. You still will come across highly radiated areas where you need to use the gas mask, but you will always have plenty of air filters. And if not, you can create them on the go with your backpack. You can create healing items and secondary weapons like grenades and throwing knives on the fly. The only thing you cannot create is ammo for your weapons. For that, unfortunately, you need to go to a safe house. The controls in Metro Exodus are as basic as most shooters, but somehow it feels that your character has some issues moving. Sometimes the controls are just feeling too heavy and you need to do some adjusting in the options menu to set it up to your own satisfaction. There's plenty to do and see in Metro Exodus, including some side missions here and there. You will still have to search dark and narrow areas that will bring back the claustrophobic experience. The way you play also will decide the ending that you will get. Don't expect a lot of choice freedom in the story, but it's more about how you will tackle certain missions. Metro Exodus will take you around 20 hours to complete if you do some side missions and do some searching around. It can definitely be a lot longer if you decide to do everything on every single map. This is by far the best entry in the series and we can look forward to the upcoming DLC. So, in the end, Metro Exodus has some graphical issues and sitting through the long loading times can be a pain. But this game blows you away with its presentation, freedom and a different take on the always shown apocalypse. As it stands, this game is definitely worth your time and money, and it should be an instant buy if you like shooters with freedom or if you want a much better Fallout game. I give this game an excellent 9 out of 10. Have you played Metro Exodus yet, and what do you think of it so far? Let me know in the comments below.